Welcome back to Baby Talk. Now, joining me in the studio is Baby Channel celebrity reporter Sophie Vokes-Dudgeon. Welcome to the show. So, is it me, or is the whole world having a baby at the moment?
There definitely seems to be a bit of a baby boom, and it's a celebrity baby boom, certainly. The magazines that are usually full of, you know, how to look slim, how to look perfect as a celebrity, are now full of how to accessorise your bump and how to look.
I thought it was just something about, you know, getting older and perhaps always being, you know, now that I've had children of my own.
Noticing it. I know, that's what I thought, but I've been talking to a lot of my other celebrity reporter friends who aren't pregnant, because definitely I think that I've started picking up on it more, and they say no. I think everyone who's famous is having a baby, even the young ones, you know, even the Britney Spearses, and they're all popping them out. So
it's definitely the, you know, it's the in thing. So, you know, Sophie, not only are you on the money in terms of, you know, our celebrity reporter, but you're on the money because you're expecting as well.
I've done it right.
It's great. I like to see that you keep, you know, not only finger on the pulse, but you sort of follow the trend as well, you know.
The best way, I think.
So let's go through some of the things that are, you know, out and around at the moment, and specifically how to keep yourself looking good when you're pregnant. I mean, there's quite a few celebrities using special products, isn't there?
I think the nice thing, or the reason I got particularly interested in it, obviously once I was pregnant myself, I wanted to know what the stars were doing, because they do have all the money in the world, all the freebies in the world. You know, they have access to the best gurus, the experts. So you know that the things that they're doing are perhaps things that I might like to do, but perhaps can't afford to do all of them. But it's nice to have a look at some of the things that they are doing and adapt it for our pocket. So one of the things that particularly interested me was stretch marks. I think as soon as you get pregnant, you start worrying about that.
Oh God, and I think everybody does.
Everyone does.
I don't believe that you can be pregnant and not have stretch marks. I don't care who you are. So please help.
And there's definitely, you know, there's that age-old debate of whether it's just inherited, you know, or whether putting all the lotions and potions on your tummy can make a difference. But celebrities have this worry times 100, because they know the minute they're back in a bikini, there's going to be paparazzi stuck up the palm trees, you know, trying to get the picture of their flabby crochet tummy. Yeah, exactly. Afterwards. So they've got a lot of pressure. So some of the celebrities go to the extreme. We've got Uma Thurman and Kelly Preston, who's John Travolta's wife, rubbing creme de la mer on their stomachs.
Now this is the really expensive stuff, isn't it?
It's super expensive. You can get it in Harrods and a few places over here now. It started off, it was developed actually by a NASA scientist, a NASA physician, who was very badly burned and trying to find a good way to moisturise his skin. So it's got science behind it. It's based on sea kelp, but it's about £100 for the cheapest, smallest pot, and they're rubbing it all over their bellies every day. But a slightly cheaper option is bio oil, which is you can get it in Boots. It's £15 for a pot about this big, so it's still a little more expensive.
And what do? You just slap it on?
You just put it on. Now,
I used to use olive oil. That was the thing I would put on.
Well, it's along the same it's along the same lines. It's an oil, and it's a natural oil, this thing. And the one benefit over olive oil is that it has this thing called pure selin oil, which enables other oils like olive oil and the lavender oil and calendula oil to actually penetrate the skin, apparently. Now, Gabby Logan was carrying twins, so she was obviously had double the trouble, and she used it,
and she looks great.
And she looks fabulous now. And apparently it's worked for her, according to the PRs that I've spoken to. Okay. So
bio oil is the one to look out for.
And the added benefit as well is that you can use it on your face. Right. So you don't have to also invest in a very expensive face cream, because it's not greasy and it doesn't make you feel, you know, horrible like that.
Yeah, because it doesn't sound great, I have to say. Bio, I don't think I would want to slap that on my face, but yeah, that sounds good.
It's quite good. I have to admit, I have been using it myself.
Now, what about some of the other sort of strange things that I've been hearing about? One of the things that Gwyneth Paltrow was reportedly doing was, with her pregnancy, was actually avoiding certain foods.
That's right. Now, Gwyneth has a very macrobiotic diet anyway. She eats lots of beans and pulses and brown rice. But when she first got pregnant, I was delighted to see her stuffing her face with chips and cheese toasties. It was quite a nice sight to see Gwyneth falling off her macrobiotic wagon.
Yeah.
But towards the end of her pregnancy, she consulted Dr. Gauri Motha, who suggests that for the last couple of months you avoid sugar, wheat and gluten. The idea behind it, which is interesting, is anything that's going to make you particularly fat, so sticky buns and those sort of things, full of all the things that you're not supposed to be eating, is also going to make your baby big. The bigger your baby, the harder it's going to be.
You see, I'm sorry. Okay, maybe the bigger the baby, the harder it is. But, you know, it's the only time in your life you are allowed to get away with eating 10 donuts in a row. And, you know, the problem with that being... You know,
I found it impossible. I spoke to the birth guru and I was like, oh, this sounds like a good idea. And usually I'm quite good at eating healthily. But as you approach birth, all you want to do is stuff your face full of it's ice cream and chocolate, and I think it's absolutely impossible. Yeah. But Gwyneth did it. And Apple was quite large, actually, and she's just had to have a C-section, also with her second child. So
it didn't.
So maybe it's not the answer.
Maybe it didn't work. Maybe it didn't work. Who knows? One of the other sort of things that obviously all the celebs have got time and the budget to do is massage and pampering. Who's been up to that then?
Well, Reese Witherspoon was over in London. I was reporting on her a few years ago when she was pregnant with her second child. And we always assume that the celebrities have a very easy life. But actually when you're filming, and she was filming about 5 and 6 months pregnant, they work very long hours, and we're talking sort of, 18-hour days. But on her days off, she would book into Elemis in the centre of town, just off Bond Street, and go and have pregnancy massages there. And they have a mother-to-be massage where you sort of flop over a beanbag, so you're able to be slightly forward, without too much pressure on your bump, and have great massages, and it just gets rid of those aches and pains that being on your feet too much, and that really you can start getting uncomfortable.
Now, the other thing that we've touched on as well a little bit earlier is in this show is baby mooning, and the celebrities are going away having these fantastic sort of last bashes or last hurrahs, I think our interviewee said earlier, before the baby comes.
Yes.
And that's becoming all the fad, isn't it? Who's been up to that?
Well, interestingly, the celebrities have been doing this for quite a while. I guess it's, as you say, because they have got the money.
The money, the time.
And all that. Exactly. But I think it's a great idea. That Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin went to Mexico when they were pregnant with Apple. And then when they were pregnant with Apple's little brother Moses, they went back to Mexico to the same place. They took Apple with them, but I think took some childcare help as well, so they were still able to have romantic evenings. But it is nice just to remove yourself, I think, from the stress and the strain of everyday life and just have that little bit of space.
Sounds terrific.
Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt did the same, and actually in a rather down-to-earth, well, perhaps not that down-to-earth way, but they went to Berlin just for a long weekend because
a bit closer to home.
Exactly, and an easy little city break. Usually Maddox and Zahara travel everywhere with them, so it was quite unusual for them to leave the babies behind, but they just went to a few galleries, had some nice meals out and things like that. They did admittedly stay in the presidential suite of one of the swankiest hotels in Berlin, but you don't have to do that.
You don't have to. You can do it on a budget, I'm sure you can get low-cost airlines flying there. I'm sure they didn't do the same. But yeah, I mean, it's becoming all the rage, isn't it? I mean, but what can you do if you're a mum at home, say, watching this, thinking, I fancy doing something to pamper myself? What sort of thing can the average mum do?
Well, personally,
mum and dad, should I say?
Yes, personally, I've been suffering a bit with swollen extremities as I get towards the end of my pregnancy, and this is something that Britney Spears suffered from. And she splashed out on the Bella Mama salts that you put in a big foot bath